do one of these. There it goes. Wow. Where are we at here? Here we are. No, I don't want that one either. Main cam, no TTS. Why is there a Discord overlay in this thing? Let's turn that off. I think that was the problem last time. All right, everybody. Welcome to Shady Storytime with the Murder Hobo Show. Very exciting. I got a little new thing on my table there. I built a nice new main table cover. Everybody, isn't it pretty? Come on. Hello?
Hello. You're the new Slim Shady.
Suck it, losers. All right. So anyways, to be honest, I haven't prepared much. We're going to talk about a couple of things here for a little while. I'm glad that I got you guys all here. So we can go over a few things. I'm going to kick in my fucking...
Is this an intervention?
This is a bit of an intervention. If you guys want to see, I don't know if you have it, but if you kick over to the Twitch channel, and I've got a thing up that goes through the ICRPG, what is this thing? Quick Start 2nd edition. Now, I don't know if you guys have the PDF or not, but let me blow this up a little bit. I know there's going to be a bit of a time delay, but I was looking at this last night because now we're sort of in between modules, right? We just finished doing dealing with Jenny Greenteeth, and now we're sort of going to head back to town. So, from the last adventure, I want to say took about 6 days of your time. We're going to do some stuff in town. Charles has got a new idea for a character, and some things are going to happen. But this is, I think, a good time to maybe discuss changes to the system that we play. And so I was looking through some of the ICRPG 2nd edition content, and I'm glad Pete's here because I know he's read it, and I made it to page 72. Fortunately, there's only 81 pages, so give me some credit. I made it 90 right? I was close.
The last 6 pages are the most important, though.
Oh, that's what I was hoping they wouldn't be. But in all honesty, Pete, I really don't think there's very many changes. Like, I don't really see much that we can sort of add in besides guns. The damages might have changed a little bit. Is there other things that maybe I'm missing in here?
As far as the one thing that you may or may not want to bring in is having the target numbers, because he reduces it now to, is it 5 target numbers? But you can make the targets easy or hard, like you do with your rolls.
Okay, so there's Bind the Worlds on page 4 here. It says Index Card RPG spans many distinct worlds. The more you explore as a game master or player, the more these worlds. So I don't think I need to bring this into the game. What this is it's some kind of weird wizard lock that they've put in, and by that it's basically it's like an arcane symbol that you would see in. You know how Borderlands, I don't know if you've ever played that game, guys, but you find those little weird circles with the A's in them, and it's like you're just unlocking stuff. But I think that's what these wizard locks are supposed to be, aren't they, Pete? They're just sort of symbols that open gates and stuff. So we could go from playing fantasy to Warp Shelter. It makes it kind of like Rifts a little bit.
Yeah, it's a bit like Slide, isn't it? You can go through different worlds using the same sort of characters.
So because this was always only ever supposed to be a campaign to test out, if ICRPG is campaignable, and so far I feel it like nailed it 100%. I don't think that we need to worry about bringing in different worlds, because I think when we finish the next 3 sessions or something like that, I'm going to kick the show back over to maybe more of an open format and maybe try some Modern Age and try some Savage Worlds and stuff like that, I think. But I haven't really made up my mind. So skimming through it, there's page 4, page 5, the core system. So he's got effort dice. Guns finally have their own dice category, which is pretty sweet. And Magic's been upgraded, so it goes from an 8 to a 10, which is pretty nice.
We're also coming across this in my other game. But what it also means is that if you are going up to D8 for guns and D10 for Magic, then obviously your characters are going to take a lot more damage. So that's something you've got to be aware of as well. Instead of taking the D6 all the time, especially if you're using Magic, you're going to be taking D10 as opposed to D8, aren't you? So,
and then the defenses. So high armor characters always seem a bit left out with their key stat, no more. Use your defense as a key role with this edition. Excuse me. How does defense work now?
So defense is your con bonus plus loot now, whereas before you put points into it. So if you put points into con, it's also affecting your defense as well.
Okay, so if you put, say, +3 into your constitution, your armor is going to go from 10 to 13.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty straightforward. I mean,
yeah.
And that works across the board, so it's just not for characters with high armor, which is good. Now it says stat supply. The amount of points available for building characters has been upgraded. Let's be a little bit more badass. I think, what do you get? 4 points now in the weapon section, or like the effort section, I guess is what it's called, right?
Yes. So whereas before you had either 6 or 8 points, whichever way you played it, into your characteristics and your effort. Now we split them out. You actually put points into your your core stats. So you put 6 points into your strength, dex, con, etc. And then you have 4 points to put into your efforts array, as he calls it. So
nice.
So it's actually giving you a bit more. You're actually putting 10 points in now, as opposed to 8 points, which you could spread however you want. It's now 6 and 4.
And then the decades thing says, for all you diehards out there, you'll notice that the life forms and types reveal some next chapter details about Alfheim and Warp Shell. Does that have to do? Did they flesh out life forms a little bit more?
Yeah. Basically, what they're doing is giving life forms sort of special abilities, and if I recall rightly as well, the life forms also get +2 or. It's either +2 or 2+1s to certain stats. So, for example, a dwarf would get +1 strength and +1 con to sort of mirror, I suppose, sort of the trope of a dwarf. So it's actually giving you an extra 2 points into something.
I wonder if I should be showing this PDF. This thing is a quick start, though, so I'm imagining that the second edition quick start's free for everybody to download.
Yes, it's free.
Okay.
Yeah, free off drive-through.
Good.
Yeah, if you already have it too, it's just going to update your file.
Okay. So, I mean, other than that, there really isn't that much that's changed. Everything sort of stays the same. There's just a few little things. You've got guns, and then magic and energy's been slammed into the same thing. So if you're playing Warp Shell, your blaster pistols and stuff like that are now magic and energy. Guns are a D8, and then weapons and tools and basics. So that all pretty much stays the same. Hearts and effort hasn't changed that much.
Your dying die has changed though too.
Yes.
Your dying die goes from a 6 to a 4, or they have something just called static, which I think it's static at either 5 or 3 rounds. I can't remember.
Okay, on your next turn, after you drop to 0, roll a d4. Pray you roll high, because in that many rounds, without help or a miracle, your character will die with a capital D. With a capital D.
So they reduce it to 4, but there's also the option of just having a static number, which, again, I can't remember what it is. It's either 3 or 5. I think it's 3.
Okay. It's a miracle. This explains how you get healed. On your turns while you're dying, if you roll a d20, you pop back up with 1 hit point. It's a miracle. I do like blown to bits. If you take more than 20 hit points worth of damage, you're just turned into mist and memories.
Yeah, I think that was always the rule, but I think because it was only like a line before, people sort of missed it. There's always been there.
And then recovery is a thing that I don't see you guys doing often. Fortunately, we've always got somebody that's casting a healing spell. So to do so, you're going to roll a d20 plus your con stat, and then add that on, so you regain your con stat +1. So if you have like 3-4 points in con, it's that +1, and then you get that back in hit points. And all that is just you're like, I'm taking a recovery turn. So that's still very similar. Healing and first aid, nothing new here, being through magical means. So if you get healed by magic, it's D10, or bandages is a D6. All right, so that really hasn't changed much. The hero coin is pretty much, doesn't need to change. There's nothing new there. Escape the fire. What is this stuff? I sort of glanced at this. Oh, this is just for adventures, the Grey Hill Inferno.
Right.
Okay, so not much going on there. Player's guide just tells you about the basics of the characters and how their stats work and stuff like that. And then here's the new character sheet. Now, what do you guys think of the mastery section on the bottom? So that if you roll a d20 in a certain skill, Or how does this work? Because now I'm actually looking at this character sheet. It's confused the
So
situation.
with the mastery, if you ever roll a natural 20, you mark off one of your mastery boxes. And then once your mastery boxes, all your mastery boxes are full, then you get to choose one of your masteries from your character class.
I see that.
So it's giving you a reward for rolling a nat 20.
Okay, so there's character class features in here. I guess we got to go back to the original 2e book and look them up. What is master?
You'll come across it as we go forward.
Okay, I see here the defense. So it's been changed from armor to defense.
Yeah.
Right, I can see that. There's your dying dice and stuff like that. The different sections. All right, so like I said, I really didn't see too much different. There's maybe 2 or 3 things that could possibly change. I don't know if you guys are interested in implementing.
Yeah, there isn't a ton of changes. I find a lot of it's more just clarifications because I mean on the forums you literally see the same questions over and over and over and over again. So I bet you 2E is more or less just Hank saying, you know what, fuck, I'm tired of answering this. Here's an update.
And the thing, a lot of the stuff in here was what people were doing as home brews anyway. So it's just codifying it.
Yeah, so here's the assign 4 points into any array. So that's how you get better points. We can implement that as we sort of switch between adventures. Hearts hasn't changed the defense stats. I'm going to have to take these character sheets and put them into Tabletop Simulator and spend probably a couple hours setting them up like the character sheets that we have in game. It'll take some time. So I should get on that. And then when I do that, I'll just drop them in game next week, I think. And you guys can switch over to this system then. Let's just finish going through this. So to be clear, the mastery stuff you get from ICRPG 2nd edition. So if you take a class, like a fighter or something like that, there's abilities in there that you get mastery from?
There's 3 masteries, and once you've got all 3 masteries, that's it. Then you've maxed out on them.
Okay.
But if you're only getting them on a natural 20, you've got to roll 20 natural 20s to get your first mastery, so it's going to take you a while.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Abilities. A mastery class.
You can pick a mastery class?
You can pick a mastery from any of the classes, not the one you started out in.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to have to go look at that and see what the masteries are. Loot. Choose 1 starting loot from your type and 4 basic any loot from your world. This hasn't changed at all? Loot's still the same?
Nope. Yep.
The same.
Abilities. The ability instead of a starter reward, which means it can't be taken away from you.
Yeah, and it doesn't account towards your equipped either.
Right.
It's a freebie.
Okay, and then this is a little bit about...
That's assuming that your bioform still exists or your class still exists.
Yes.
It seems to have eliminated a few things.
Okay.
So like hill folk or giant folk and small folk, they don't exist anymore. But we got Taurtons. So I mean,
hell yeah.
Wait. What happened? So we don't have hill folk and we don't have...
if you flip through the bioforms of the classes, there are extra classes, like they have a bard class, which is kind of silly because it still runs off either wisdom or intelligence, which one would think that that's a charisma based thing, but whatever, I digress. But yeah, there's no hill folk or there's no small folk. Right.
Wow.
So nowhere does it say that you can't play those. You just got to refer back to your original book. But in playing that, they haven't updated it so that you have those masteries or you have those extras that are in the 2E quick start.
Okay.
Because the race isn't in there. Not that it affects anybody at this table, I think, but if you were thinking of building a character using the 2E, that's kind of not an option anymore.
We're going to get to the Alfheim stuff very shortly anyway. It starts on page 32. So
okay,
right.
So there's the Taurton, that's new, and then they actually got, and now they've added Gerblins and Taurtons.
Yeah,
Did you guys notice that it did say up here 6 things that everybody knows? King Henrik is missing, so there's some stuff going on there. Iradrim has been destroyed. Oh, is that a city or a town? It is a city or a town, isn't it? See what Vay put small folk lives matter. Yeah, they do. What is this? Iradrim has been destroyed. When Durithrax, the ageless dragon, was released by a band of reckless wizards, her fury was terrible. The vast mountain city of Iradrim was utterly destroyed, sending the population of dwarves east, where their numbers Okay, I think that's a thing. But I'll look that up in the map. I know Gerblins have joined mankind because it does say on the map that they have a city that's basically like right next to New Haven where we play. Snow Orcs have organized.
Yeah.
What is this? Is the now Snow Orcs are a thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to make sure I check those out. I should have read a little bit better. Tortons, all right.
Big old pasty white orcs.
This is why I have you guys here. You always like to have people here telling me how things work when I don't want to really read it myself.
So that's those last 5 pages.
Right. They're always the most important, it seems. There's the Gerblins.
That's right.
Gerblin's actually pretty cool. I'm not going to be opposed to somebody who wants to play a Gerblin. Okay, life forms in play. Diminished, not extinct. No clear lines. Always hope. Aberrant. Is there anything important in the life forms in play section?
Sort of, you get these like 4 bullet points for each race, which sort of gives you some sort of like flavor background.
Okay. Man, my coffee is actually really good this morning. And this is me killing time as I sip my coffee. Player's Guide. Warrior. A master of steel who can take a beating, of course. So this is a little bit on how warriors work, your starting ability. So these have changed then. These are what we're talking about. And here's the mastery down here. I see. Okay. This is all starting to come together now.
So basically, you pick one starting ability, 1 loot from your class, as well as on top of your loot from the worlds, and then you've got they've changed the milestone abilities as well now. And again, these are abilities as opposed to equipment.
So, Pete, because you're kind of well-versed in ICRPG, I know Corey started playing it and stuff like that too. What do you guys think of this second edition? Do you feel that it blends well together with the second edition book? Or, and you know, if you've got Worlds and you've read the second edition book and you've read the Worlds book, which has all of the tiers, because I know Corey was talking about that. So I'm going to actually direct this to you, Corey. Does this blend well together, or does this sort of overwrite and mishmash a bunch of things?
Honestly, this whole game, this is one of those games where you could put as much or as little into it as you want. So it fits. I think it fits in nicely, especially if you're starting off very new characters. In the case of ours, where we're, I guess, for a lack of better terminology, upgrading characters. It's not a far stretch. It's not a complete rewrite. I mean, I'm running a mage right now, and right out of the gate, I get a bonus of my magic goes from D8 to D10. So fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Milestone abilities, again, there's less of an opportunity to have your shit taken from you. Not that it's been an issue with your particular game, but I've heard of a lot of ICRPG DMs where that's their thing, is they always steal stuff, or they always destroy your equipment, so you're perpetually always losing equipment or abilities because of that. So no, this is a nice little blend. It's a nice little evolution without being a complete rewrite.
But I mean,
I don't mind it.
D4 Death Timer with that is going to die a lot more now.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch that.
Okay. So we don't really have to go through all this. I see there's a bard class now that he's put in there. There's the mage. You know, you guys can look at your own specific classes. I usually have a tendency to not involve myself with reading the player's guide because I don't really play that much. And when I do, then I'll read it then. Player's guide. So basic loot. There's a new basic loot thing that is here, I see.
Yeah, he's slightly changed some of the basically, but it's nothing. I mean, it doesn't stop the stuff you've already got from working.
It's probably all stuff that people were already using. I think you already mentioned that, Pete. It's all homebrew stuff that's just been put on pen and paper now.
Okay.
Yeah, and he took out the tags on the weapons. He just made them more detailed.
Yeah, so like the Warhammer, you can actually destroy points on the enemy's defense as well. So each time you hit with it, you're reducing their defense.
Oh, that's cool.
The only thing I'm actually not seeing in here is a whole lot about tags, unless I've missed it. No, there doesn't seem to be as much of a focus on tags, which I'm not even too sure how often those are really being used.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. You sort of have to read that section to know what the tags mean. That is actually really cool, man. Warhammer, a hefty blocky weapon for smashing. If you do 5 to 10 damage, destroy 1 point of the enemy's defense. 10 plus also stuns the target for 1 round. That's really actually pretty sweet. I'm gonna have to take a look at some of these and see what you guys got going on. I'll let you maybe throw these in there if you guys are interested too. Now, have spells changed much, or just sort of the same thing? A little bit more of a.
Some of them are a little more clarified. They're not drastically changed, but there's a couple instances where there's some change. See if I can find one right out of the gate.
All right. While you're
Um,
doing that, I see there's some those spells, wisdom spells. Man.
like here you go. Arcane Missile was one. So Arcane Missile before it was just you roll an int attempt on a target in sight. That's all it was. If you could see it, you could target it. So near, far, close, whatever. Whereas now Arcane Missile, it says hurl a shard of pure arcane energy at a target you can see. If only doing one damage, the missile ricochets hitting a second target. So I mean, if you duff on your roll, your damage roll, it looks as though it bounces off and hits somebody else. That's kind of cool.
Yep, that's pretty
So
slick.
slight tweaks, but I don't think anything, game breaking.
Okay, so far so good.
Actually, it looks like check out Seekers, which was kind of a game breaker.
Which one are those? Is that in the original one? I'm gonna switch
Yeah.
over to my TTS. I'm gonna leave it on the. Oh, actually, I'll just. Where am I at here? We want to do this one. So on the that's int spells, Seekers.
Seekers
Yeah.
is an int spell that you cast, so you didn't have to roll for it.
Yeah.
It looks like it took it away.
No
not a
roll
bad
to
thing.
cast. Emit a cluster of 6 missiles that seek a visible target. Land 1d6 guaranteed hits. Ooh. Wow.
Yeah, that was quite powerful, wasn't it?
I'm glad that didn't show up in game. I should have thrown that on a freaking on one of my mages. Okay, so let's talk about spells for half a second. I feel like this is suddenly the Murder Hobo RPG talk show. With what I found what I found over time is that I don't really know how much I'm liking the idea of letting priests have complete access to the spells in the way in which I do. Over the last, I want to say, month or so, I've been teaching D&D to my nephew, and I've been looking at playing second edition. Man, second edition is so convoluted that it took me forever. And then when I was teaching my kid my nephew how to play D&D, I was looking at the spell slots, and I really sort of had to come to grips with how it's worded and figure out how many spell slots I get. I don't want to put in spell slots. I like the way that spells work in this game just by simply turning over the D4 timer. But when you're playing D&D, the concept is that if you're playing a priest, you do actually have access to any of these spells. You can you've had the training, you've been to the monastery, you've spent your years memorizing the holy books, and you do have like a holy book with you. As you walk around, you're reading the gospels of whatever god you have. So I would like to change it that you can't just excuse me, decide what you're going to cast, like look through the spells and say, oh, I'm going to use this because it fits. I'm going to switch it back to the other system where you'll have 3 or 4 spells that you can keep in your brain at any time. So when you rest, you choose those spells, and those are the only spells that you can cast. What this fixes is a thing that I've noticed is that a lot of the spell cards that I give, the loot, has wisdom power spells. And those are just sort of not going to the appropriate place, which I feel would be the priest or whoever casts wisdom spells. Because of this, they have no need for them because they could just choose whatever they want. So, and then...
Do you want to look at the priest in the second? Because it actually talks in a different way. I don't know if you want to do it this way or the way you're talking about.
I'm a little phlegmy, so I keep muting myself, but here we go. Okay, so yeah, a righteous avatar of divine might. So they've got a starting ability, nature.
It's in the starting.
What is this? You choose one of these. Use your wisdom stat when making an armored attack. Any healing magic you cast does ultimate effort, and then elemental. Nature or weather magic is always easy to cast. So it's in the starting loot, or where's it at?
It's a starting ability. That one. Oh, yeah.
The green staff, Drew's amber beads.
Oh shit! Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, so store your elemental magic in a wooden staff. Gain any 3 wisdom spells instantly. That's cool. If your staff is lost, it comically turns up in 1d4 rounds. Where is it? Oh, you fell on it. It's up your butt. The Book of Truths, a tome of religious texts. Gain any 5 wisdom spells instantly, but if the book is lost or destroyed, the spells are gone. That's cool. So you get more spells, but you're running a risk. Ooh.
Right.
I like this. Amber butt beads. Oh, wait a second. That didn't say butt beads. A necklace of orange spheres gives you focus. Gain any 1 wisdom spell. That spell dwells within the beads and only fails on a natural 1.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it gives you a sphere of focus. I wonder what that is. That's got to be a new thing. Gain any 1 wisdom spell.
Well,
Interesting.
basically what it's
One
saying
spell,
is
but-
you get a wisdom spell, but the only time it fails, it doesn't matter what you roll, as long as it isn't a 1, you pass.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah,
wicked.
but you only start with 1.
It's
Yeah.
only 1. Well, yeah.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool. I like that. I think that then I'm going to implement that because the way that it's being worked now, I find that, again, like I said, it creates a couple of problems. One, with the loot being handed out, the wisdom spells don't have any value. And 2, you always have an answer or a way to sort of skirt the problems that I throw at you. And in doing so, it makes the game less of less, what's the word I'm looking for? Not complicated, but less of a less of a
challenge anyways.
less of a challenge. Yeah. So
yeah. Well, as the priest, you got a choice. You go for one really powerful spell, but that's your one trick pony, or you go for the five various spells, but then you got a chance of losing them all. So gives you a chance then to tailor it a bit, doesn't it?
yeah. Okay. So that's
Because-
actually kind of cool.
If you lose a staff, it has automatic spell burn in it because you have to wait D4 to get the staff back.
Yeah.
I also have a question about spells and how it's worded.
Okay.
Something I've noticed in some of the spells is that it mentions that near allies. I
Yes.
believe that includes yourself. Because I've seen some other spells where, like, you cast invisibility, and all near allies are invisible. That would certainly include yourself as well, right?
You would
One would think.
Yeah.
I notice I have a belt. I have a belt of Odin. When I heal myself, I get ultimate, but I don't really have any powers that heal myself, except for maybe healing Nova. It heals all near allies.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that would include myself as well.
Yeah, I would assume so. All near allies with double magical effort. See, that's kind of a tricky kind of a deal, because it heal all near allies with double magical effort. But if you could just constantly do that and always heal yourself, if you just cast that every time, everybody would pretty much be at full health. So I see what
it
you're
sure
saying.
depends how you read it too, right? Because if the Odin spell means when you heal yourself, I mean, I hear healing. It doesn't necessarily mean how you heal yourself, whether it's magic or through rubbing herbs in the wound. So as a herbalist, if you're sitting there doing just a standard mundane check like a heal check, well, you've got the belt. It'll give you ultimate. So I mean, that's kind of how I read it as well. So really, it's DM's choice at that point.
Let's see. So he's got Healing Nova. With a hard wisdom roll, emit a burst of divine healing energy. This wave heals your allies within far range. Healing
Oh, so they
Touch.
changed it.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's written differently in whatchamacallit. So I think that reads to me like you don't heal yourself. You just heal your allies within far range. And I think I like that a little bit better because that's not a priest get out of jail free heal everybody card. That is you casting a spell to fix everybody, but you're not healing yourself. You have
Well, that's the way it reads now. Healing Nova. Heal all near allies with double magical effort.
Healing Touch says touch an ally, heal them with holy magic. Make this roll hard to use. Make this roll hard to use both hands, healing 2 allies at once. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's kind
So
of
yeah,
cool.
I think it's
circle jerk then.
Yeah, it's definitely sort of in this. It implies that allies is not yourself; it's the people around you.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no way to heal myself. I have to use a herb
No,
or a
so
potion or
this is
something?
where I'm turning back to your. You said you had that Uden's belt, right? Where if you heal yourself, you may not have a spell to heal yourself, but you always have the ability to heal yourself doing a heal check, right?
Yeah, the recovery.
So
Oh, okay, so
so
that's an out of combat thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh
Okay,
no,
yeah, I've never
it,
used it.
it's an in combat thing. You can use it whenever. You could literally like stop and put a bandage on, and then
Oh, okay.
if the belt says scooting over to your character sheet. If the belt says, where is your Uden's belt? Belt of Uden, heal self for ultimate. Sure, yeah. You want to put a band-aid on or something like that. The belt just sort of amplifies the healing, and then you can heal yourself with ultimate that way.
Oh,
so
okay.
the hard decision comes in that round. Are you going to choose to heal yourself for ultimate, or are you going to healing Nova or heal everybody else around you, but you still have the potential of being KO'd, right? So it makes it a little more interesting in that respect. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a spell to heal yourself. You have other ways to heal yourself. This just allows you to heal yourself with ultimate.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
So then I have another question, and the reason it made me ask this question before is because I was looking at int spells, and one of them is called the Hidden, and that's where allies near you are invisible for 1d4 rounds. Would that mean that you are not hidden, but everyone around you is?
yeah, that's the way I read it. Yeah,
yeah, so I think that's the kind of spell that you would cast and then send your allies off.
No,
Allies.
Yeah.
well, they become visible if beyond near,
Oh,
so
I see.
that's
Yeah.
stay next to you.
Okay, see, I think that's a thing that we're just going to have to rectify. In that spell in particular, it doesn't make any sense. If they have to stay near you and you're not visible, or you're visible but they aren't, and that makes it kind of a weird spell. Because then only people see you. Well, maybe that's the way it's meant to. Maybe that's the way it's meant to be played. In the fact that you could walk out in front of somebody and be like, "Hey, ogre, let's have a chat here," and he turns to attack you or something like that, and suddenly your allies all appear. That is more of a like a story time spell than it is. You know what I mean? It adds that,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Anyway, it just made me wonder if they're the way they're wording things is a little odd or needed clarification.
yeah, that one definitely does. Allies near you are invisible for 1d4 rounds. They become visible if beyond near. So yeah, I could see the value of that in a couple of situations. If you were playing the priest and you wanted to sneak into a jail, for example, hint hint, you could walk up to the gate and knock on the gate door with your allies invisible around you and say, "Hey, I'm here for alms for the poor," kind of a thing, and I'm going to go in and cast some healing and pray for the wretches within. And meanwhile, your intent is to sneak your entire party in, and it's just you dressed in your religious gowns. Or, well, this is a wizard spell. This is an int spell. So,
Yeah, but do you all think this was the intent of the game? Near allies being just everyone but yourself?
yeah. I think it's for situations where you want to sneak in, sneak your mates in somewhere, isn't it? Or you want your mates to get round the back of somebody else. You make them invisible, and they can sneak round the back of them while you're talking to them, and maybe
I,
trouble them from behind.
I think where the general question is, and it's not even so much this spell in particular, is when they're saying your allies. I guess the general question is when you're doing a spell for your allies, is it going to
yeah,
include yourself or not? So
Mm.
once that's
Yeah.
defined, then you can better understand how the spell works.
yeah,
What the original intention is, fuck if I know. I mean, it looks as though a lot of it seems to be um, ally based, and in D&D 5e, I mean, if you cast Bull Strength on somebody, you don't get it as well. You're casting on an ally. If you cast Cat's Grace on somebody, you don't get it. Your ally gets it. So that's kind of the whole buffing feel of it. Maybe it's just the way it's written is maybe a little clumsy in that respect, but
Yeah. These are kind of
that
like
that's kind of
AoEs.
how that's kind of how I'm reading it. If you look back in D&D terms, it's all buffing spells for everybody around you. But there's no reason why you couldn't do it yourself. I mean, how many times have you had a spellcaster or a wisdom spellcaster turn around and say, "Yeah, I'm going to cast Cat's Grace on myself," right? So it's a matter of how you cast it. Do you want to cast on someone else? You can cast on yourself. Is really that's what the question is.
it hasn't changed in the second edition Quick start. The spell is in here, and it says allies near you are invisible for 1d4 rounds. They become visible again after leaving near range of you. The only addition is it says interrupted if harmed or casting.
So if the caster is it takes any wounds, then their
if
spell stops.
If you're harmed or casting while this spell is on, the spell is interrupted. So that sort of, to me, means that
I think it means if you cast another spell, then it sort of stops
it's
the first one.
like a concentration kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the interrupted if harmed, that to me means that you're visible because somebody's actually able to hit you. Otherwise, how would you get harmed if you were invisible? Nobody would be attacking you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that
even then they become visible again if leaving near range from you, interrupted if harmed or casting. See, it feels as though if you're the one who's decides to cast something else, or if you're harmed, then your allies become visible again. So again, that plays the whole concentration thing, right? The spellcasters making sure everyone's invisible, but they take a point of damage. That hurt. You lose concentration. They're visible now all of a sudden.
I see what you're saying, though, Vay. That definitely sort of is a little bit weird. The intent of the spell isn't really 100% clear, but it kind of does seem like the idea is that it's not for you, it's for everybody else. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, that adds challenge to it. If you could just cast Healing Nova repeatedly, heal yourself and everybody else, there's no challenge in playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the original intent of the game was to use your hit points to cast spells.
Yeah. It takes a lot of the hard decisions away, too, because why would you take different multiple healing spells if all you can do is Healing Nova all the time?
Yeah. Okay, moving on. So I think we'll switch over to the new magic system then with these new spells as I'm going to have to put them in game. So we'll probably do that over the course of the next week or so. I can get these. These are easy to put in game. It's easy to pop them out. And actually, I could just put this PDF in there just like it's already done. Except the only problem is there's 2 pages. Like wisdom spells are. So
there's 2 per.
What else we got in here? 6 things you know. So we've been through this a little bit. Life forms, Geno. Life forms, this is Warp Shell. So this stuff doesn't really pertain to us right now. No. I'm sure there's some changes.
Get on to page 68. There's some new stuff for GMs as well to use.
Ooh, getting close to the end.
Yeah, we're getting there. This is a quick go through, right?
Yeah.
So
you got 4.
Almost like your threshold.
Player's Guide 6970. What page are we on? 66. These pages don't match up in my deal here. Okay, GM Innovations. Here we go. Let's see if any of this stuff is interesting.
Oh, yes.
This isn't my first exposure, so we can carry on from there. The chosen targets. Oh, yes, this is correct. So all encounters start with a target of 10, 12, 15, or 18. Nothing in between.
No, but when you get onto the next page, you'll see that players can change the target number by doing stuff. So if you set a target of 12 on the scene because there's a fire going, and the player say, right, one of us is going to douse the fire with water, then you can reduce the target number from 12 to 11 while that person is dousing the fire for everybody else.
Okay, I like
Or for
that.
having like a social encounter and then someone pisses in the person's pool, you could actually raise a target.
That would never happen.
Not in this game. This group is all about class.
Absolutely.
Veritas.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Okay, I do like that. We're going to add that into game 2, target damage. So yeah, what you guys do will affect the target number. That's kind of cool. Target examples. Here's a bunch of different. We don't need to read the examples. I'm pretty sure we know how all this stuff works.
There's some good ones in there for the GM.
There's some really neat ones.
Like the tremors each round add a D6 to the target number of 10. So it's a random target each round.
Okay,
so it changes every round.
Oh yeah, okay. So this is I got you. So target examples. Yeah. I thought these were just examples.
So it's a floating target, yeah. So I mean, target 10, roll your D6, add to it. Well, this round it's a 16 or a 12 or 14 or something.
And then you've got one like the Titanic lava beast, the magma rack. Each round he gets one harder. So he starts off at 12, and then in the 6th round he's up to target 18 as he gets stronger.
Okay, I get you. I thought these were when I just sort of looked at the header target examples, that these were examples of how to use the targets. But I see that these are actually just like you guys have your D4 to switch the spell powers. These are different
Yeah.
ideas on how to switch the target number. Okay, that's
It's
actually pretty
also
neat.
fluctuating the target number is what it is,
Yeah.
based on
And what
environmentals around you.
it also externalizes like monster abilities into the target number for
Yeah.
some.
Mhm.
Those are some big words, Charles. Can you dumb that down a little for me?
Instead of Swarm having an ability, it would increase the target number because it's too difficult to fight while the Swarm is hitting you.
Okay.
So the Swarm target number, but if you attack the Swarm, you'll start decreasing the target number. The Swarm itself doesn't really have an ability like that,
Okay.
except to increase the target number. So that monster's ability becomes the target number changing up and down.
Okay. I got you. For some reason, you're pretty crackly this morning there, Charles. It's kind of,
Am I?
yeah.
Let me redo my audio.
Next level timers. The impact of timers in the tabletop community has been huge. I love timers. All of the mechanics in ICRPG, of all the mechanics in ICRPG, it has found a way into more games than any others. Yeah, it's very cool. So, is there some new stuff that we got in here? Explained imminence, world timer, turn timers.
The world timer, besides your normal timer, you can have a world timer. So you could have, which is a D12. So like in a D12 round, something big's going to happen as well as your normal timer. So I use this one in my ICRPG Aliens game. I had a world timer that set off once the countdown timer sort of set off. So you got so many rounds to get out of the base. So it's something you can put in the game, or something you probably won't put it in every game. But if there's something
Ticking
going
time
big
bomb,
and
reactors, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
stuff
Like
that's going
the
on
hag
big in
could
the background.
The hag could have had a timer that she was going to attack every so
Hmm.
often, unless we did.
Right.
And,
Yeah. Okay.
And they've also got things like turn timer. So when you roll a timer, it's not round turns; it's rounds. So it's if you say you rolled a 1, it wouldn't happen when it comes back to them. It'd happen when the next player takes a turn. So it's like something imminent is going to happen.
That's in core though. Just people don't use it a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah, the turn timer is brutal. I mean, every
Yeah.
round, every time someone takes their turn, the GM timer goes down. When take a turn, GM timer goes down. Like it just accelerates everything so quick.
Wow.
And then here's the static death timer that Charles mentioned. So it's 3 rounds.
Yeah.
That's
opposed
it.
to a
3
D4
rounds. That's what it was.
Oh wow! You simply have 3 rounds to get healing, to get a healer
Yeah,
stabilization.
as opposed to D4 rounds. Yeah.
I kind of feel like I like that because if you roll high, a lot of times I feel like the party just sort of leaves you because they know they have 5 rounds,
Yeah.
right? So in this
And
really,
that's more aligned with 5e. So
yeah, we might just implement that as a static. I don't know. Well, what is it normally? It's D4 now. Is what he wants you to roll. I think I'm just
Yeah,
going to
He
leave it at
changed
D4.
D4, yeah. So from a 6, I mean, at least with a 6, if you roll a 6, like you said, you roll a D6. I got 6 rounds. Like the encounter's over by then. I've already healed and had a half a
Yeah.
dozen beers.
Mhm.
A D4 certainly changes that. It's like, okay, we got a little more, put a little more
Urgency.
stink on that. We got to get this
Yeah.
little more urgency to it. But this just static 3 rounds. Everyone has in their heads 3 rounds. No farting around. No
Yeah,
thinking. You got 3 rounds. That's it.
I'm
you gotta
thinking.
dig that
I'm
into the
thinking
machine.
the D4 would be better because then there is that chance that you have that you've taken that grievous wound and you only have 1 round.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Even 1 or 2 rounds is a little bit more stiff than that. So I think we're going to switch that and add that in with the D4. Reload, recharge. We don't really play
So
with.
yeah, no, that's basically just a D4 timer for your reload time, and the same with the
For
effort
spell.
substitute. Instead of rolling your effort each turn, you just say it'll take D4 rounds to do that task you're doing, as opposed to
Yeah,
spending
you
effort.
can do that for spells too if you wanted to in this.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, there's a milestone item that changes that to D8.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It changes it to a D8. Oh, the dice. Okay, I got you. So that gives you a possible 8 rounds in order to reload or recharge. Like
Yeah, I think it's
8.
the Guardian or the.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're talking about the death timer?
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's right. So that would actually be kind of cool for the death timer too. That's right. Instead of just rolling a D4, it's automatically with that thing a D8 or something like that. Well, it's the D8 dice. Effort is a great challenge to players with prolonged tasks. A faster way to measure such tasks, you can just use a timer. After initial success, simply announce it will take D4 rounds to decode the password. I don't like that. I think you can
See, I don't mind that at all. Because effort's fine if you want to track it. This way, it's just it'll take you 3 rounds to bust the door or pick the lock or whatever, right? It's
Sometimes
I don't
3
know.
rounds can take some time, though.
Oh yeah, no, I get it.
Mhm.
I get it. Maybe it's situational, right? Depending on
Yeah,
the situation.
It's just another option, isn't it? If you want to.
Yep.
Okay, timer damage. Just like target damage, timer damage is a term for players' abilities to delay or hasten events with their abilities and loot. Once a timer is on the table, players should always feel welcome to work against it in their favor. So here are some examples.
Yeah,
Timer.
so for example, if you roll a D4 timer and it comes out as a 1, and say there's some bad guys going to come through a door, one of us could say, right, I'm going to barricade the door to try and delay them. So instead of it happening next round, it maybe push it up another couple of rounds. So just a ways for players to delay the timer happening.
Okay. The portal is forming. Crusher mech powering up. In D4 rounds, the monster of metal will be active and ready to rampage. Yeah, okay. I mean, I understand the premise of that. That's pretty straightforward. You guys, have to do some damage or shut it down in that amount of time. And if you don't, it pops up. GM calling for defense rolls. So one of the newest arrivals here is the defense roll.
Yeah.
The stat won't have much excitement without a GM who embraces it. The purpose of this new accent is to give high armor characters a reward for their precious character creation points. All too often, the GM uses a dex roll, some devastating offense. Okay, so this just explains how the defense roll works.
So basically, you're using your defense stat as your stat to add to your D20 to beat the target number.
and defense is basically starts at a D10 for everybody, and it goes from there.
Your defense is your con stat plus your loot.
Okay.
So it's so if you had 2 in con and 3 in loot, your defense stat would be 5. So if you called for a defense roll, I'd be adding +5 to my D20 roll, trying to beat the target number.
I'm confused suddenly.
So basically, defense it's another stat really, but it combines two things. Whereas armor before was your base, what you put into it, and your loot added to 10. Now it's figure on its own. So it's your con stat plus whatever your loot is. That is your defense, and then your armor class is 10 plus your defense.
Okay, so why is there no armor class on the character sheet anymore?
Because I think it's just assumed that it's 10 plus defense.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So this is for things like some of the examples there. A bomb goes off. Well, a character with high con would roll their defense to see if they avoid taking the shrapnel, as opposed to rolling dex or strength or like you would normally do. So it gives them, where they've got armor present, it gives them more chance to defend against certain things.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. That just seems weird that they wouldn't have that as a separate stat for. You know what I mean? As a separate box, because there's no reason you couldn't just call it armor class, and then basically say that if you're the tanky class, you get the defense is your deal, and you can add your constitution bonus if that's who your character is playing. I don't know. That seems a little weird to me. I'm going to have to read this a few more times. Any effect that sprays damage everywhere or goes in all directions demands a defense roll to avoid the pain. These types of abilities are great for giving enemies variety and danger rather than rolling attacks over and over. Auto hits. Okay, so and then that's really it. Damaging defenses, which this is actually kind of cool. The skilled GM giveth and taketh away. Consider eroding player equipment, thereby decreasing their defense stat in cases like this. So everybody now has a defense stat that is 10 plus whatever their defense is.
Yep.
Okay, so now that we've gone through those, what is the last of it? This is just a little page on what's in there. All right. So
we're all very proud of you.
Thanks
for getting past.
Thanks.
You got up to page 77.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't for it was only an extra 6 pages, to be honest. I mean,
And you did have the help of four people to get you that extra
Right.
6
So
pages.
good. It's good. It's good. Personal best.
Okay. Back to Tabletop Simulator. We're going to put that off to the side. Of those rules, which of them or which of those do you guys think we should put into the game? Bueller? Let's go, Pete. Which ones do you like?
I certainly like the new character creation because I think it gives you a bit more scope to. You're getting a few more points to put into your characters.
Okay, so
and it's sort of breaking up.
Yeah, the +4 stats to your efforts.
+6 and +4. Yeah.
Okay, and it is +6 and +4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 and 4.
Okay, that's cool. So we can implement that, which should be easy when I put in the new character sheets for you guys to add that. I want to change the spells up so that we'll use the spells. I'll bring these spells into the game so that you can look through this list, and I'll bring these character sheets in. These character sheets, though, this character sheet is a little bit different. There must be a different, better character sheet than the one in the back of the book because this one just sort of doesn't look like it fits the page.
The file, if you go to your DriveThruRPG library and you update the file, it actually has the character sheet in a JPEG format as well.
Okay,
And
fantastic.
it's considerably clearer anyways.
All right. Yeah. So I will take a look at that. Okay, let's shoot back to the beginning here. And scroll through the table of contents. So we're going to put in the character creation. We'll change that up. I like leaving in the hill folk and the small folk.
Yeah.
Well, the bioforms or whatever life forms are based off of story events that has happened. So if you read whatever the 6 things everyone knows, that explains why those things have changed. If those things haven't changed in the game we're playing, we don't need to change it.
Okay, good. We don't need to change it because they haven't. We have, I think, this adventure and maybe 2 or 3 more before we're going to wrap up this campaign. Like season 1 comes to a conclusion. What else? The timer things are pretty easy to implement. Yep. Changing the timers, that's pretty straightforward. There's the spells we're going to change, so that will affect Vey. Vey, are you a wisdom casting character or are you intelligence casting?
I am both.
Okay, you went both ways?
Primarily wisdom.
Well, way not to pick a team, but that's okay.
I like utility.
Sweet. All right, so then the wisdom spells are going to change for you. Like you'll have to do a little bit of research. This quick start guide you can download from anywhere and then just look at the spells in here. Okay. Choose one of the items from the character creation section. Do you know? You know what I mean? Like the beads are. Sad that I only remember the anal beads, but whatever the other ones were. The
beads, stuff,
meditation beads.
Right. So choose one of those to add flavor to your character. Put it in your character description, and then you can choose.
Okay. Already have that.
Choose your spells accordingly. So your 1 or 4, 3, or 1, however you want to go with that. And then at least that way, when we find spells or I give spells out as loot, they'll be a little more valuable. And then it also sort of restricts you to being, choosing your spells accordingly, or you know what I mean. I'm kind of gimping you a little bit, but I feel like it's a needed thing to do.
It's okay. I only use 3 or 4 spells anyway.
We will use the target system, so we can change it up and down. Defense, we'll figure that out as we play, but we'll put the defense stat into the game. Chosen targets, decades, life forms. And I think that's pretty much it. Right? The actions stay the same, the core system stays the same, the target number stays the same. Depending on the scene that we go into, I might add another timer of a different color. We'll put in magic and energy will be a 10 instead of a 6. That's pretty straightforward. We can do that now. And, okay. So it all sounds good.
Are we going to put in attacking the target number or the variable target number?
Yes. Yeah. The variable target number will be a thing. If you're in a dark room and I set it to whatever somebody casts light, that will reduce the target number Pete pisses in the pond of the hag.
Increases it.
Yep. It increases
Or
it. Yeah,
Never
absolutely.
know.
Yeah.
Make that charisma roll.
Right. The roll for dying, I prefer. I think I prefer the D4 because there's always that
Yep.
one chance, which makes everything a little bit more challenging in that moment, as opposed to having a static number. We do have resurrection in this game too, so I mean, if anybody really wants to bring their character back, it's not like we haven't resurrected Thazit 5 times.
He's going for the full hat trick.
Yeah, he's a retread though. I mean,
What's the mechanic
Oh.
for that?
He's got Gary just busts your chops when he brings you back. Takes
Yeah.
24 hours and you lose a stat.
Yeah.
Oh,
One of your +6, +4. Now that we have them, you'll have to determine. And I think I usually choose your main one. So if you're mainly a wizard, I will drop your wisdom by 1. I think we rolled for it, didn't we, Corey? So that it's a little more random.
I'm
think it was
trying to
rolled.
remember how exactly. I think you rolled it, 1 through 6, and just nerfed one of them because I know he got nailed in his con once, and he lost a wisdom once.
I generally
Yeah.
don't
Wisdom's
like.
got a -1 right now.
Yeah, I generally don't like choosing because that just means I'm being an asshole. If we let the dice choose, I'm not the asshole. The dice
well,
are.
that's the way I do it in my game. Instead of a player having to re-roll, let them resurrect, but they lose ability scores based on how they died.
Okay, that sounds kind of like a good idea.
Like attacked by a magical, died from a magical hit, then they lose intelligence, for example.
Okay, arrow would be dexterity, sword chop would be strength, kind of a thing. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
I'm implementing the blown to bits. What's going on here? Listen to my sweet music.
Well, that was blown to bits was kind of always a thing, right? If you take more than 20, you're buggered. You're done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to implement that. At least I'm going to make it a point to remember that it's there. Recovery hasn't changed any, so that's cool. Other than that, I think we've pretty much nailed it. We'll use these spells. I'll bring in this character sheet. Maybe there's another character sheet I can find that might be a little similar to the one we're already using. We're going to start tracking.
Are we going to use hero coins?
Hero coins are going to be in.
Coins?
Yep, we're going to use hero coins. I like that. We're going to use the mastery, so we can bring those in. Corey, you had an idea with your character where you wanted to use something out of the Worlds book. Is that affected by the new 2E rules?
Not really. No, it's let's see. It's just a different school set. So basically, instead of taking a milestone, you go for this mastery and kind of go down a path. Is really all it is. It's just an option, really.
Okay.
I've stuck the JPEG character sheet into the chat on Discord for you.
Excellent.
Save you going looking for it.
Excellent.
Know how lazy you are.
Yeah, thanks, pal. I appreciate that with the fantastic games that I run for you. I'm really bullshitting my way through today. I literally just spent an hour just hanging out talking with you guys, trying to sort out where we're going to go from here. So, as you can tell, I didn't have any time to prep, man. I was planning on doing it yesterday, but I went to my cousin Laura's house, and I was teaching my nephew Mateo how to play Dungeons and Dragons. Which is funny because he's 11, and so we started off with Lost Mines of Phandelver. It's kind of a funny story. So level 1, right? Here's some pre-gens. Let's play a little bit of this game. The story was hilarious. My cousin Laura was an accidental lunatic beyond recognition in such a weird way. In Lost Mines of Phandelver, when you come down the trail and there's the 2 horses at the beginning, everybody should know this adventure. I'm sure you've seen it played, right? Serge, my brother, my cousin-in-law, her husband is Serge. He's like, he has this idea where everybody should jump underneath they see these 2 dead horses and they've got the guy running the cart is this guy Marshall, this little gnome. So Serge sends Marshall to go inspect these 2 horses, and Marshall looks at him. He's like, mate, I've got no armor, I've got no weapons. What do you want? Why don't you go? This is your job. I just drive the ox cart. And he's like, no, you go. Take my hand axe. So the little gnome goes out and he starts inspecting the horses, and sure enough, whap, 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 3 arrows. He goes down. He's toast. So Serge, being the cleric, trying to find some redemption in life. He's like, oh, this is not good, right? He kind of feels bad. He's like, everybody get underneath the cart. So everybody dives underneath the cart. And he slowly drives the cart forward as the arrows from the forest are coming in, and eventually they get up to Marshall. They're shooting the orcs, they're casting spells, they're doing stuff, and then finally the cart comes to a stop because Marshall, the oxes have come up to the horses that are blocking the trail, right? And so I'm like, the cart stops with Marshall right at your face, kind of a thing, and he's like, "Oh, I feel bad." So instead of killing Marshall, I let him cast cure wounds on Marshall. And he heals Marshall, and Marshall comes back. He starts spitting up blood. Say, "Hey, what happened?" He's like, "Why am I underneath the cod?" He's like, "Oh, jeez." What? And he looks down. He's like, "These arrows, were they inside me?" Oh, he's all playing it up and stuff. And so he's like, for theatrical effects, I'm like, "Oh, you've resurrected me, or you've saved me from dying. I owe you a debt of gratitude here." And so I gave him this like sort of a chicken's foot kind of a thing. He's like, "This is my lucky chicken's foot. I've had it for so long. I feel like it brings me luck." And I gave it to Serge, but they've never played a role playing game before. So Serge is under the idea that he can influence the story, which he can, of course, right? But he's trying to be a good player right out of the gate and do a thing. So he takes this chicken leg and he's like, "I got an idea," but he goes off to throw pizza in the microwave, and then he comes back a few seconds later, and it's his turn now. So he goes, "Oh, I reached for my lucky chicken's leg that I just got from Marshall, and wait, it's gone." And then he turns on his wife. He's like, "You stole it," because she's the thief character, right? I'm like, "Okay, that's really cool and well played, blaming the thief for stealing your chicken's leg." And my cousin Laura, the lunatic, she's like, "It wasn't me. It was that goblin." Right? He's up in a bush 30 feet away, and she's like, he stole it. And we all start bursting out laughing because, like I said, she's just an absolute accidental lunatic that she's blaming a goblin that's 35 feet away that didn't come up and do a thing. Yeah, it was really funny. And then when they go from the trail to the Cragmaw hideout, there's a couple of traps. There's like a pit snare trap. So Serge, walking out in front, he gets caught up in the trap. He doesn't see it, and he's hanging upside down. All of a sudden, my cousin Laura wants to swing through the vines and reach down and scoop up Serge and like lift him up so she can undo the snare part of it and pull him out of it. And I'm like, "Wait a second. I know I said that you guys could add to the story, but you're in a forest and you're swinging around the fucking jungle like Tarzan. Like this is this is sort of stretching what I was getting at. And this is the best part. The next trap is a pit trap. It's like a 10 by whatever trap. And so they get up to it and she sees it because now she's in front. And so she sees this pit trap. I'm explaining it to her. Like there is definitely like this weird 10 by 10 square of different kind of leaves. Maybe they're dying a little bit, but it's a definite pattern in the trail. She says, "I want to build a bridge over it." I'm like,
That's logical.
right? Of course it's logical. I'm like, "So you want to chop down some trees, make some structural 2x4s, blacksmith some nails, and build a bridge over this thing?" She goes, "Well, how about if I just fill in the hole?" I said, "So you're going to dig another 10 by 10 hole of dirt somewhere else and fill it in with this hole?" And I just looked at her, and we're all laughing our fool heads
Sounds
off,
like
right?
someone played too much Minecraft.
Right? And so I said to her, I'm like, "Why don't you just walk around it?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I guess." But that was my day yesterday. It was actually quite hilarious. I had a really good time hanging out with my cousin and her friends and watching them all be sort of lunatics and crazy.
And I bet you got more sense out of them than you got out of us lot, didn't you?
Well, nobody pissed on anybody, Pete, to be honest with you.
Oh, maybe next time.
Oh, it's good stuff. All right.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, let's take 5 for, I'm going to go make some more coffee or get another cup of coffee, and we'll come back and sort of fire some stuff up here.
All right.
Oh, where is my be right back? Main cam, no TTS. We'll just hang out and wait for people to show up. Meantime, Charles, your audio is still hot garbage. And Locke.
How do you know it's audio? It's not his normal voice.
It could be, unless he sounds like a broken robot.
His secret is out.
Alfheim, New Haven, build.
That's the only one thing about TTS. You can't really slap a map together quickly, can you?
No, have you seen that guy? I'll tell you a funny story, Pete, while we're talking about it, because it's weird. Jay is a perfect example. When he gets an idea into his head, he will go into Fantasy Grounds and spend hours just building a theme for it, right? And if the material is not there, and Dave, the Digital Dungeon Master, does the same thing. With the Bexme stuff that we were playing, he literally spent like hundreds of hours, maybe not hundreds, but a lot of time putting all of that stuff in the game. So, although you can't really build anything sort of immediately, we could cheapen it out, and I could just throw a flat map down on the table and go that way without any 3D elements. But I prefer to build the world that we're playing in by throwing in these 3D elements to make it a little bit more. So that's where I spend my time. There's a guy, Lore Explorers. Go ahead.
I think the 3D elements are a bit harder to find, aren't they, as well?
Yeah.
Especially if you're looking for something specific.
Yeah, like trying to find these old buildings and stuff like that. You have to sort of look for, 3D objects, buildings, and go through a bunch of stuff. But you do it for long enough, and you get quite a repository of things that you can, if you know to save them and stuff. And then the problem is sometimes they break, and it can become a pain in the ass. So it's not without its problems or hassles. Fortunately, I've gotten really good at fixing things and checking links and, doing that. And things that are important to me, I save in my own personal space so that even if somebody else loses, I can change the links to my own. But there's a guy, Lore Explorers, that we were just talking about. I was watching him do some stuff with the Foundry, and he's got Savage Worlds for the Foundry. Now, the mechanics are there and the character sheet's there, but none of the other information is there. He spent 100 hours implementing stuff into Foundry. And I was just like, man, I remember when I did that for Roll20, and that's the reason I stopped playing Roll20 when I found Fantasy Grounds and realized I could just pay somebody, I could pay $40, and you divide that into the 100 hours it took me to cut the player's handbook into Roll20 before it was available. That's like, what, 40 cents? 40 cents an hour? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I've had to do it in Foundry for Adventures in Middle-earth, but all I do is I just input the stuff as and when I need it, as opposed to putting the whole bloody book in it. Just as I need it, then put it in, and slowly it builds up then.
Right. I think that's sort of the best way to go. Just add it as you need it, whatever suits the adventure that you made. But then here's my question to you on all of a sudden it's Pete and Gary's podcast. Do you feel like just adding the material that you need is sort of setting your players up for a railroad because you don't have the material made for them to go other directions?
Yeah, it is to an extent. I have probably 8 or 10 generic maps. So I got like a road in the daytime, a road at night, a forest, a campfire scene. So if something goes a little bit off, I can cope with it. But you have to say to the players, look, I've got this prep, so we're going down this route.
Right. So that's why that was the premise of my argument that railroading gets a bad term. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, if they go off the rails in my game, I just draw them out.
Yeah, that's not fair.
No, I mean just like in Fantasy Grounds, but just black lines on white paper.
Yeah, that is a doable thing in here. I do have a generic gridded map.
Or the other thing I've done in Foundry is instead of having a map scene, I'll just quickly Google fantasy art and then just bring an image in of like a town or a tavern or something like that, just so it's more theatre of the mind.
There's a couple extra steps to that because these maps have to be 1600 by 945 to fit on the table, or double that, 32 by 16, whatever it is, right? So I would have to.
You're doing the game for a show though, and not to really just
Yeah. So, anyways, my only point is I feel that railroading gets a bad rap because when you're trying to do a presentation, if if people want to go off track, the presentation kind of falls apart. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Charles, are you back?
Railroading happens every single game.
I agree.
It doesn't matter if people say they do it or don't.
Yeah.
There's a form of it somehow. Otherwise,
Yeah,
what's the
it's all-
point of
it's a-
running a
it's in
pre-written
degree.
adventure?
Yeah, it's just a matter of degree.
Okay.
It's like
to
Lost
railroad.
Mines now. I'm running my players through Lost Mines, right? You have to pretty well follow the book, otherwise it's pointless. But once you're in the town, then it's freeform. Do whatever the hell you want
Yeah.
in the town.
What
But you're gonna eventually do these missions.
you playing in person, Corey?
No, I'm doing it through the Hammer VTT.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to ask you. Like, which VTT are you using?
Yeah, so I threw it up in the Discord there. There's you were talking about that goblin scene with 2 horses. So that's kind of what my background is, and that's all the players play off of. We just go very abstract with the index card images.
Excellent.
Because you're more.
If I could
Well,
get
I
you
got that
guys,
from Pete. I stole his idea.
Oh yeah.
if I could get you guys to drop your characters near the front of the town over here, the entranceway. Plop your characters down there. I have managed to kill an hour and 20 minutes of the show, which is fucking fantastic. I'm glad that we all got together in a I want to say vocal area where we could speak instead of type, and sort of go through some of the changes that we're going to implement here. But yeah, I don't know why Pete is up on top of the deal there, but
I'm floating.
Clunge is having a hard time getting to where he needs to be. So we got Clunge. Where's Mercy?
The green glow.
Let's see if I go to the nighttime. Will I see your green glow?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, I
Push to the
see.
far end.
Yeah, so you're way down at the other end. All right, I'm taking all of these characters.
Oh.
Scooching you
Oh,
down.
that end.
Yes. Okay,
Wow.
so we have dealt with
We listened to you.
Jenny Greenteeth. With everything that
Good
happened.
deal, but we ran away from her, you mean?
Well,
Wasn't
fair
it
enough.
Greenleaf?
Whatever her name was. With all that said and done, the idea that I'm going to try and impregnate your character is somewhat ludicrous and was never the point of the deal. This game will be over far before that year ends, this campaign, so it's a thing that's off the table and we no longer ever need to discuss. It was just a bargaining chip to resolve an adventure.
So you're saying we need to accelerate time so she has a baby earlier.
Whoa, what about my player agency?
What I'm saying is there isn't enough time left in the game for you to get your business done and squirt out a baby. We're never going to return to Jenny Greenteeth.
What you body.
Feel free to do whatever you like. If you want to get pregnant, that's fine. I just want you to know that was the end of the whole. I was trying to create a situation that put you in a position where you had a hard choice to make the role-playing aspect of it interesting, which it turned into 2 episodes and quite a conversation.
Well, see, Mercy was just agreeing with it as a cellmate.
Okay.
She's got a year to figure out how to fix this.
Fantastic. So with that said, we have Brudnir, the survivor. You guys have left Jenny Greentooth's little area that she was in, her little spot in the forest. And as far as everybody understands, the pact between the town of New Haven and the elves of Elvenhaunt and the Fae of the forest and Jenny is intact. The town will be protected from anybody looking to come and onslaught it. Everything is good. Excuse me. And that's where we're at. After 3 or 4 days travel, you guys return to the town of New Haven. Following the road into town, people see that you're walking up the street. They're glad that you're not dead. And the peasantry starts coming out. Everybody is cheering and applauding you. The mayor shows up. He's shaking your hands. He's asking you what's going on. Old Chump Check's. I locked Chump Check instead of doing the deal with him. So I don't know why everybody is so much bigger than Chump Check, but I'm going to correct that. So Chump Check is super happy that you guys have managed to somehow save the town. The crowds form around him. There's some cheering huzzas. I'm not going to bother putting them in here. But I am going to go to Brudnir, because, Brudnir, this is your turn to really show everybody how sweet your role-playing skills are. And you've got a bit of an announcement that I'm going to just sort of throw into your pants, and let's see how good your improv is while you take it away.
Talk about. What do you mean?
Hello, Charles.
Yes.
Okay. We discussed something in private chat the other day.
Oh yeah, I'm not ready.
Oh, you're not ready? Oh, okay.
No.
Never mind.
I got busy yesterday too.
Sure. Okay, that's cool. Because the thing is that this is the opportunity in which we're going to make that happen. We won't really get into the next adventure too much, so this would be the time to do the exit strategy, and then we can bring in the next character next time, and you'll have at least a week to do it.
All right.
Now.
Well, Brudner comes up and says, just with what everything's happened, I want to take time off. I think a small group of adventurers solving every problem for the city is not the way I want to live my life. I have a business, and I have a good business, and I just want to stay here and do that and not be bothered by having to do step and fetch for people who don't like me and piss on me from above us in the street.
The Walmsleys cheered. Oh man, this is awesome. So the Walmsleys, they're up there like, you big sissy, mate. What's wrong with you? Look at the pussy, dear. Look at the little wimp. He's going to run off to his little lumber mill.
Wait, is that what we were doing? I thought we were just looking for mushrooms.
That's part of the solution, is not to have people who are looking for mushrooms solve problems for an entire settlement.
Oh, I thought we found a lot.
Let's face
that
it, though.
is true.
Let's face it, we're cheap, aren't we?
Alt print screen.
I ain't.
I'm going to.
I'm a fancy man.
Save this moment where Charles bids farewell to the adventuring life.
Charles did that long ago.
Sorry.
Brudner's just doing it now.
Brudner. My bad. Yeah, so this is Brudner's farewell. He's decided that this is going to be it. He's going to take his reprieve, and everybody can say their farewells, starting with Clunge. Take it away, Pete. Say your goodbyes to Brudner. Let's have a moment. Make me feel something, Pete.
Well, Brudner, I'd like to say that it's been an experience. I've never pissed myself so much than when I've been with you. So thanks for the experience.
Probably healthy for you.
Oh, fucking fantastic. Thazit, take it away, buddy.
Let's see here.
You guys have spent the most time together.
Brunner, we've been through life and death, mostly your life, my death, a number of times. And I wish you good luck, and hope to see you in the future there. I'll come visit the mill.
Yeah, you're always welcome. If you guys want to use a treehouse, I'll say you can use that, because I don't want to give up the map, because I know Gary put work into that.
It's like a guest house. Got it.
Yeah. I'll even take down some traps.
Some of the traps? Okay. Fantastic. All right. And then we're going to throw it over to Mercy. Mercy, who's only been around for a little while, is usually high most of the time, has no clue as to what the fuck's going on, probably doesn't really give a shit that Brudner's leaving, but take it away, Mercy. How do you feel about this?
Well, I'll walk over to Brudner and tell him that, we wouldn't have gotten all these if it weren't for your help, so I hand him a handful of still wriggling grubs.
Mm-hmm.
And I say you just plant these in your garden and you have a wonderful, wonderful bounty.
Why,
fantastic.
Thank you. What are they? Larger grubs?
Oh, no, these are like oak seeds.
Oh.
Or mushroom seeds. Or something.
Perfect.
They're really good. Just plant them in your garden.
Yeah, I don't know what they are. Just put them in your garden.
Yeah.
We got off to the side. Oh, wait a second. I don't know where he went to. I thought he was here. As you were talking again, like I said earlier, old Charles Walmsley, he's up in the top there, making all sorts of fun of you quitting, being a quitter. He's calling you names left, right, and center. And rather than look for it, I'm just going to say that Knight Alid comes over. She is like, one of the main people that you have been in contact with. And she, expresses herself with a great big hug and a teary eye. She says, Bradnir, you've been a wonderful asset to the city. And the mayor comes over too, and he's like, oh, wait a second. The mayor is doing a weird thing here. Chum checks drunk and falls down. He's like, you've been an absolute boon to the city. If it wasn't for you, I'm sure we'd be run over by kobolds and goblins alike. So I say to you, my good man, in honor of your services to the city of New Haven, the town of New Haven, no taxes for 1 year. Just one, though.
Perfect.
Knight Alid gives you a great big hug, and she's like, oh, I wish Rufus was here to say goodbye. Unfortunately, I can't find his character. His miniature has disappeared from the map, so you'll just have to pretend that he's here as well. And then, because I still haven't found Rufus, although I'm going to try and look through my tools, Rufus is going to come over. He walks out of the little building. He comes over and he says some things. He was like, it was a good swamp adventure. I'm glad that I spent that time with you while Thazit was laying dead or recovering from his wounds. We sure kicked some dragon ass and beat some swamp alligators. It's really hard to find stuff or search when I'm talking and trying to think of shit at the same time. I find my mouse is just circling around and I'm trying to think, where am I at, and say a thing at the same time. I got to go to my miniatures and my paper forge. And somewhere in the middle, I believe I have a thing. So, good old Rufus, man, he's a little shaken up by the fact that you're not going to be around so much. Where did the fucking police officer?
I'll still be at my camp. I'm still a member of this community as a business owner.
Okay, well, everybody's pretty happy and pretty excited about that.
Can we have a business organization, actually?
You want to do which?
I want to make a small business organization for New Haven.
Oh, wow. Okay. What do they call those things these days, anyways?
Small business organization.
No, they call it something else. I think this was Rufus's character, was it not? I mean, he wasn't really this big, but this was what Rufus looked like.
Was that him, Corey?
I'm seeing as the ass end of him. Give me a sec here.
Well, I mean, then he's a match.
Oh, wrong flip, wrong rotate. Oh no.
Nothing like him. He's been cloned.
No. The other one was more. He was more of a Roman guardsman.
Well, there's only that one. There's this one. The one that you see.
Yeah, no, there was it's more of a Roman guardsman. Let's see.
Oh, wait a second. You're right. He's this one.
Well, these are very stylized.
That's the guy. Yeah, that's the guy, right?
Yeah. I recognize that back anywhere.
Okay, there's Rufus. Let's put away the rest of the army, men. We can. Oh, did I delete them?
You know what? You're going to need them in a moment. You watch.
Here we go. Okay.
I want to see them hugging.
Here's Rufus. You want to?
My version.
You wouldn't know if they were hugging or not anyway. You're high half the time. All right, so Town Guard 1 comes over. He's like, Brad there. All those good times in the swamp, etc., etc. Hug, pat. Yeah, business committee. Sounds fantastic. Sounds like a great idea. Yeah. Excuse me.
So the first time that happens, I put on my king signet and rule that committee.
You shady bastard. What have you got that I'm not aware of?
I have the final say in group decisions and be loved for it.
Okay.
There's no role.
Oh, man. Is this... Okay, so is Brudnir, even though he's off to the side, is he going to somehow secretly sort of start ruling the town of New Haven to the point where I'm going to have to put the party against
economically,
you?
but I'm not going to do anything about it
Okay.
unless you want me to come in like evil mafia guy or something.
That actually might be cool. It might be a thing that we could do later on. Everybody pats you on the back. They're all sad and sorry to see you leave, even though you'll still be part of the town. You will no longer be adventuring with the group. And next week, when
Can I give someone my hound chain? I know we don't usually give gear, but it was something that happened within the adventures. You know, the thing that summons the spectral hounds.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I will make this a one-time exception because you are leaving the group, that you can give one item away.
Okay.
Do you want to give it to your new character?
No, I'm not going to be a dick like that. Everyone roll charisma, and whoever gets the highest charisma can pick what item they want.
Oh, there you go. Shopping in Brudnier's armor.
Yeah, fantastic. Up,
Yes.
God, you pissed.
There's some stuff.
Watch Vay roll a 20. Vay's not even...
That's what you should.
Oh,
Roll
I
your
don't want
D20.
any spectral hounds.
No, roll a d20 and you can steal some of his loot before he leaves. He's going to give an item to one of you because he loves you so much.
Oh, okay.
All right. That's it is.
That's it. What do you want?
Is. I don't know, man. What's that? Where's that thing that blew a hole in my chest?
Iron Palm. Oh yeah,
it's very close to his heart. One might say.
Right here.
Yep.
Dun, 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 dun.
It makes probably the least amount of sense, but let's go with it.
Yeah,
Oh,
speaking
like
of
it
loot,
totally. I loved it.
Is there
Enjoy.
a card for that cloak that I got?
Why did that not
So that's an
drop?
item. It's not a wisdom power. I bought it from what's his name? The Red Rocket store guy.
Oh, Wonder
Doodle.
Canoodle?
Wondercanoodle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an.
Yeah, it's what does it say? What does Iron Palm say? So Iron Palm does say that it is a wisdom power, but essentially what happened is that is an item. It is like a gauntlet or a glove that you slip on that does this power, and that was bought from Wonder Condoodle. So you have like one arm has some kind of maybe whatever you want to call it, silk glove, chain glove, whatever suits your need, right? But it's like you slip it on and wear it, and then you get this ability. Charles, I dropped a bag on your table right here, so you don't have to do anything with it right now. We'll just carry on. But when we're said and done, I'm going to put all of your items in this bag, or I'm going to duplicate everything and drop them in the bag, and then take all the cards back and throw them in the deck.
Okay.
Because
I have it in Chronica.
Okay. That way, at least, if you want, for whatever reason, some at some point in the future, Brudnir decides to come back for whatever reason, at least we'll have it. So,
Revenge.
that is going to take care of Brudnir. Now, in order to start the next story, go ahead.
As I leave, I cast Conjure Oak on the Wombley's mansion.
Oh shit!
Oh, I re-roll it. I don't have a hero coin yet.
Oh, I do. Take it. Take it. Those guys are picked.
Man.
Oh, that's even less useful.
Even better.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Oh.
Suck it, losers. The Wamsleys, they got some kind of magical shell around their house. And Charles, and I believe Charles Walmsley realizes what you're doing, and he kind of comes over, Harold, I should say. He comes over and he gives you a good shot. He's like, right, mate. Can't even cast a freaking spell. What a loser. Right, dearie, right. She's
okay,
like,
property taxes are going up. Go screw yourself.
He fingers you. He's like, come a little closer so I can whiz on you or get out of town. leader of the financial group. Pshaw, dear, pshaw. Won't happen. Harold Walmsley will be leading that group. He calls down a few times. I love the Walmsleys. Okay. In order to progress the story to a point where it makes sense, we need to step ahead in time about a month. So I'm just going to go around the table and ask each of you what you're doing over the course of the month. Let's forego the fact that Brudnir is leaving because nothing happens for a month. So if we pick it up with who do we got? We got Pete's going to start it off. Clunge, you're back in town. Nothing is going on. It's been over the course of the next month. What is it that you're going to be doing? I want to give you guys this opportunity rather than to sort of play a game. You can just tell I'm full on bullshitting my way through this adventure. But my idea was that over the course of the next month, like Brudnir, Clunge, you can start a business or invest yourself in the town in such a way that you can, it means a thing to you, right? There's consequence, so to speak. Have you got an idea for maybe like a business or a thing that you want to do in town?
Yeah, he wants to start off a clothes cleaning business because he's going through so many pairs of trousers now. He figures that other people might be too.
Okay, so you want to start a freaking laundromat? I love it, Pete. That is freaking fantastic. Now, do I have a building? What is this building here? So there's Lauren Latte. We've got Cockburn's Grocery, Hearts, Herbs, and Eggs down on the far side. The mayor's office is in the middle. You got the Walmsley's mansion. We have the Ruby Arrow, Jack's Blacksmithy, Leadstopper's Tinker Shop, and I don't know why it says Lumber Slumber down on the end. But I'm thinking we're going to turn this building right here, this is actually kind of good because not only is
dry cleaning
right by the river.
What are you going to call it, Clunge? You got a name for this place? You can rename this, and this will be your new deal.
The minge.
Clunge the plunge.
Yeah.
Okay. What is it? Not I want to say Martin. Is there another word that starts with M for like a cleaning place? I don't know why I want to call it like Minge Matinee or Minge Martin something or other.
Oh my god.
Munge Laundry. So it's going to be called Clunge Laundromat, or what do you want to call it?
Clunge Cleaners.
Clunge the plunge cleaners.
All right, so we're going to call it Clunge Cleaners, and I'm going to double
Clunge
K it.
Cleaners with a K.
Clunge the plunge, even with and he goes and solves your plumbing issues as well.
Yeah.
Laundromat and plumbing.
Okay, Clunge Cleaners it is. Now, Pete, on your note card somewhere, and it's a good thing I got Corey and Brudnir here because Corey, you don't really have a business in town or anything like that. I know Matt was doing a thing with the brothel.
No, Matt's been doing the whorehouse there.
And you were doing Lauren Latte. You were working in the bookstore, weren't you?
I was working in the bookstore. Yeah, well, I mean, he's got no money. He keeps dying, so he keeps paying the resurrection costs, as it were. So he hangs out with Theo at the Lauren Latte, and he chronicles all the adventures in books, and regales the local children of stories of the adventures.
Okay, so as you guys come back to town, everybody is also going to get a milestone reward now that you're back. So we can look those up now. I also want to give you some money, I believe. Did Jenny give you the chest? She did give you the chest of coins and stuff, right? Something along those lines?
I don't remember whether she did or didn't.
Okay, so she's given you a chest of coins that you have taken back to the town as payment. I believe it was payment for the wrongs of killing what's-his-face. Mercy got the Cloak of Elvenkind, which will keep you comfortable from between 0 and 120. You feel no temperature change.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, is there a card for that?
I'm sure I can make one, but I don't think I have one in. So if you just want to write it on your note card.
Yeah, I was going to write it on the notes. What all it does.
Did you see the note that I left you on your note card?
Oh, did you put that there?
Yeah, I did, because I didn't know what.
Divine Vision gives me true sight.
Okay, all right, fantastic. Anyways, I was goofing around, moving some stuff, screwing around with some shit. So, you have a Cloak of Elvenkind. that between 0 and 120 degrees, it says Fahrenheit, you will just feel like normal, like you don't suffer any heat from any of that stuff. So you can write that down there. The chest has 250 coins in it that she gave to you to give back to the people that whose husbands were slain by her. But there are some payments for some of the other things that you were doing along the way. For example, the drunk guy whose farm you went and found the imp at is going to give you 50 coins for solving the dead cows problem that he had. You've got Jenny's hairpin. You are fully aware now at this stage of the game that Jenny's hairpin is a scrying device that Jenny can use to find out exactly what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
So you might want to get rid of that somewhere, which you could probably pawn it off at Wonderkin shop, as a group, right? So I'm going to just say that do you guys want to keep it or do you want to get rid of it? Consensus?
I don't think it matters, honestly.
Okay. Well, we can turn it into coins.
At least for up to a year.
Actually, that's right. I'm going to make you keep that, Vay. I'm sorry. As far as the story goes, she's going to want to know what you're up to. So yeah, you're going to, well, you don't have to keep it on your person. You can just keep it in your house or wherever. Sorellis, it says Sorellis has a stash and the villagers' payment. So you've got Halvin's stash was 35 coin. Halvin was obviously the lumber mill guy that started all of this. So he had a little small box of coins that had 35 coins in it. The villagers give you 50 coins. That puts you up to 85. Jenny's chest is 250, but I feel like I'm going to make you guys distribute that to the people that went off so you're giving it back to the city. Mm-hmm. And other than that, the 50 coins, so we're looking at 50, I say 135 coins for you guys to split up among the three of you. 135 divided by 3, so each of you is going to get a solid 45 coins that you can add to your loot. Also,
is that the bag icon?
Pardon? Yeah. Yes, it is. So you have that money. Pete, I'm going to need actually Corey and Thazit. I'm sure somewhere in my notes I have it written down as to how we role-played the laundromat situation, like the lumber mill, because Charles had to hire somebody. We had like a formula for how we worked it out. I'm going to put it in the GM's notes on Clunge's Cleaners, but so under my GM's notes, under Clunge's Cleaners, you got to hire somebody to clean stuff. Well, for the next month, you won't have to, but you'll spend the next month. Give me a charisma check, Pete, to see how well you find somebody. Like this will be whether or not you find some drug-addled lunatic to run your shop, or if you find, the better you do, the better you do. Okay.
So that's
15.
Plus ones, that's 16.
Yeah, fantastic. So give me the name of a wonderful, lovely lady that lives in town. Maybe she lost her husband, and you're giving her this job so that she can, get some income.
Letitia.
All right, so Mrs. Letitia.
Merkin.
Merkin? Is that her last name? Being the generous employer that you are, Clunge, how much are you going to pay Mrs. Letitia Merkin to work in your dry cleaners?
It's going to be, what's it going to be? 2 coins a day, is it? I think.
Okay. So you're going to pay her 2 coins per day. You can handle that, no problem. So that works out to about 14 coins a week, kind of a thing. And
that's pretty steep, though. If you look at the World's Book there, Pete, you only need to pay like a coin. It costs a coin for some of the different services. So a coin for like a guide or or
Oh, is it?
a mercenary or
Okay.
something. Yeah, it's only like a coin.
Oh, so
a day.
a coin a day then. Make it a
He
coin a day
made
then.
copper.
Wow. Yeah.
One coin per day.
To simplify coins and gold and all that other shit, we just use coins. Thematically, when you're buying like a magic item, it may be 500 coin, but we're just going to call it 500 gold kind of a thing. But when you're doing this, maybe it's 1 copper, but it's still a coin. Like a coin covers the broad spectrum, which is, I find it, I kind of like that. Just having like the idea of just a single currency kind of a
Just
thing.
one currency. Yeah, here's your coin.
Yeah.
Okay, so Miss Letitia Merkin gets 1 coin per day. I'm going to start the laundromat as a new business, making 1d4 times 10. Would that be too much? 10 coin? Because that's a minimum, that's per week. 1d4 times 10 per week.
Well, it doesn't matter. Clunch is just going to drink it away anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Probably a D. I say a D4 times 5, maybe a bit more
okay,
accurate for
Okay.
the business.
sure, let's do that. So it's going to be 1d4 times 5 per week. That is how many coin that you could make. So you can make up to 20, and you're going to spend 7 on her, depending on whether it's a good week or a bad week. What I like about doing this with the bare minimums now is it's going to allow you to spend your money to buy upgrades for your shop. So if for 100 coins you can buy a better washing machine, and I'll change either the amount or the dye type.
Yeah.
Right? And that'll be like, you don't have to take it as an advance, but when you do get an advance, we'll also look, we'll come back and take a look at that. Because I did something like that with Clunge, but because Charles has taken Brudnier away, I don't have to worry about that. So, but I've written it down in, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but one of the cool parts about Tabletop Simulator is they've added a GM's description at the bottom. So it says Clunge's Cleaner. There is a description. What would you like the cleaners? Have you got a logo, Pete, that you could put up here for Clunge's Cleaners? Like a jingle or something like that. We'll take the piss out of your pants. We'll clean the piss out of your pants.
Yeah, we'll clean the piss out of your pants. I like that. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna write that down there. We'll
just take the piss out of it.
We'll clean the piss out of your pants. And I'm gonna put an exclamation mark in there. Now, when you hover over it for just a second, you'll see that it says. Right, but there's also a third section inside of Tabletop Simulator called the GM's Notes that only I can see, where I've written down the details of our agreement on how you're going to make money.
Yep.
Pete, I would like you to roll me a wisdom, perception, notice, rumor roll.
Okay. And that's going to be 15 total.
Oh, wow, nice. Okay, so over the course of the next month, while you're setting up your laundromat, people are coming in and there's some scuttlebutt going on around the town. You've heard rumor that Seraph or Rufus has been put in jail for the attempted murder of a noble. Just gonna leave that.
Don't tell me we gotta defend the fucking Womsleys.
So a lady comes in. You happen to be, over the course of the month, you happen to be in here doing some repairs, fixing some things up, trying to clean the piss out of some pants, and a lady comes in and she's like, oh, have you heard about Rufus? It appears that old Rufus there's got himself into a bit of a pickle. He's got himself all wrapped up in some kind of murder, and he was trying to do some murdering of some of the nobles. And so the two of them are having a bit of a go, but you overhear this conversation. Mercy, my sweet Mercy, internet AI love of my life.
Brain in a jar.
Right, brain in a jar, not real human computerized thing. I would like to get you invested in the town of New Haven as well in some fashion.
Okay.
There is a deal in the back corner that I think might suit your needs to sort of a T, which is actually it's right by your table there, which is hearts, herbs, and eggs. Now, being that you've sort of taken up the throne of dealing with mushrooms and picking herbs and paying attention to that kind of shit, you even have a book, don't you? Did you not pick up a book somewhere?
No, I did not pick up a book.
Okay, I thought you were trying to do
Although
it.
I am the merciful daughter Rira, I am definitely going to spread her
Legs?
wisdom throughout the
Oh.
lands. So I'm gonna set up a temple somewhere in town.
Okay, so what about if this is acceptable? It's kind of your choice. You have two options. There is hearts, herbs, and eggs, which is
I would just eat all my profit. That's probably not a good idea for
Okay.
mercy.
Okay, then you can set up in the Temple of Gods. It's very generic for a reason. You can full on set up a little miniature chapel in the Temple of Gods to spread the good gospel of whoever it is that you want to. And in doing so, you can try and sway the minds of the townsfolk of New Haven and possibly acquire coin that way. They'll come and make donations, and then you can just do whatever you like with the donations.
All right, yeah. I'll give out the blessings of Ira in exchange for money. If you got it, that's fine. But rather have food or wine or other vices.
Okay, so let's make a deal, or at least figure out how we're going to deal with your thing. So I was thinking that I could start you off the same way that I'm starting Pete off, with a simple 1d4 times 5 for as long as you're in here. But that's not to say that we can't go the same route, and you can hire an acolyte and teach him the ways of the gospel, and he can hang out in the temple while you're off adventuring and spread the good word and make some money. But he'll, of course, require room and board, and you'll have to pay him as well, right?
Oh, yeah. And I have to make sure that he's clean, right?
Okay.
No drugs.
Okay, fantastic. So then let's go this route.
I don't want him getting into my stash.
Let's go this route. Make me a charisma check as you sort of spread the word around town over the course of the next month. You're trying to find somebody that's a suitable candidate for the old Temple of the Gods. Oh, you find the absolute purest of persons, pure to the core.
So pure as a eunuch.
Okay, and has this eunuch got a name? Like Mr. Rogers is probably one of the most pure people that I've ever seen. I don't know if he did some weird bad stuff like they say that he did, but I've watched the Mr. Rogers movie, and inside that movie, he's a pretty nice frickin' guy, man. Like, he goes out of his way to make sure that he remembers your name and what you're all about. He was like, in that movie, they made this guy out to look like a human saint, so to speak. So
his name's Carl.
Oh, his name is Carl. Okay,
Yeah.
Has Carl got a last name? Maybe it's Carl Rogers. Maybe no.
Bobbit.
Bobbit. Carl Bobbit. Okay, I feel. Oh well, yeah. I just put it together right before you said it. Carl Bobbit. Now, was Carl Bobbit in some kind of seedy love relationship when he was married, and he ended up getting his junk chopped off, and now he's making amends, which makes him the purest person in the world?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. Carl Bobbit is making amends for cheating on his wife and getting his dick chopped off, and he has just become the purest of saints without his wiener. That is fantastic. How much are you going to pay Carl Bobbit per day? Because not pay Carl, because he's being the saintly, loving man that he is. Carl wants to do this for free. But Carl needs to have room and board, so he's going to have to, take up a room at maybe the Ruby Haven upstairs, or the Ruby Arrow. That's probably going to cost a coin, and maybe some food, which will cost another coin. So what do you think? Maybe 2 coins a day?
Yeah, that sounds fine. Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, so
Mercy's
I'm going to
not worried about the money, just the goods.
Okay, right. Okay. So, all right. So Carl Bobbit's going to require 2 coins per day, in expenses. let's figure out how we're going to write down.
But if he's gonna take that, he's got to pay for his food.
Um,
Because I do take food as donations.
Okay, so Carl,
Food and vices.
yeah, Carl Bobbitt requires 2 coins, one for room and board and one for food, but he takes no money otherwise. He just that's what it's going to cost, right? He doesn't want the money. He's doing this all for redemption, etc. Now, let's deal with the income that you make, because essentially you're looking to get some good vices. You want some sweet wine, and you're looking for maybe some wild herbs or some exotic materials and stuff. Is essentially the sacrifices that you're looking for.
Yeah.
How do we convert those sacrifices into, let's say, maybe not money, but like, is there gonna should we say 1d4? Let's forego the coins per day for Carl.
Well, let's admit this for a second. What do I need the coin for?
Right, you don't. You just have to pay Carl 2 coins per day in order for him to get you the wines and the herbs and stuff. Because somebody has to, only when you're away, right? So when you're off adventuring, Carl's got to take over for however many days you're on the road.
Right.
So you just have to pay him the 2 coins per day so that he can have room and board. That's all he's looking for. So for 14 coins a week, I'm going to say the same thing happens with, let's just use the same mechanics. 1d4, but instead of coin, you're going to get 1d4 times 5 exotic items. Or what are we calling them? 1d4, what are they called? Like gifts? Not gifts. 1d4 times 5. Donations?
Yeah, donations.
And then these donations basically are just going to keep you drunk and high like you want to be.
Right on.
Okay. All right, I wrote that down under the... Now, have you got a name for your church?
Oh, yeah, the Temple of Ira. That's E-I-R-A.
E-R-I-A.
E-I-R-A.
E-I-R-A. There we go.
Yeah, this is from Hellfrost, by the way.
Okay, so
Percy is a Hellfrost character. Ira is a god from Hellfrost.
So the Temple of Gods now says also Temple of Ira. You're going to have to pay Carl for every day that you go adventuring. This is going to be an expense that you have to pay. Carl will come in. You pay him 2 coins a day for the time that you're on the road. And while he's in the church accepting donations and spreading the word of the Temple of Ira, he only accepts donations in the form of, let's see, donations are going to be, what are you looking for? Wine?
Exotic herbs.
Yep.
Wine, mead, or food, because I do need to eat.
Okay. Wine, meat, food. Okay.
And if they don't have that, then I'll take the coin.
Okay, or coins. All right. Okay, there you go. Now you're fully invested in the town of New Haven, which is fantastic. Charles Brudnir is going to take off. He's going to go wander off into the tulips and do his thing. So I'm assuming at this point, Charles, me and you no longer need to deal with Brudnir. He can go off to the lumber mill, take over the town city thing. If you have an idea for what you want to do with Brudnir, for a thing that he can come in and shake stuff up or something like that on the side note, you're free to do that. Because he does run the business committee. Maybe at some point he wants to start taxing Clunge's laundry and the Temple of Ira, and then maybe the taxes get a little right?
Tax the rich. Like a
I fully
laundry.
expected this priestess wouldn't let me set up my temple here, and I was going to make my own temple and start piling up sticks in front of the temple, making the Temple of Ira right there.
Okay.
Is Mercy gonna have to for her gathering stuff?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Because like in the mage book, they have some magical plants and fungi. So if like she rolled really well, she might get one of those every so often.
Yeah, like I've been doing out in the wild.
Yeah.
With the
Where's that at, Charles?
It's in the magic book.
Oh, okay.
I thought that's what you were doing anyway with the
Just naturally, yeah, just naturally, depending on how well you rolled, you either are going to find something that did a shitty thing or did a really good thing. So one of the cool parts that I like about, and I picked this up from 5th edition. 5th edition is a roll high system, right? The higher you roll, the better you do. And I've just implemented that as a general rule. If I don't have a fallback, I'm just going to say roll a d20, and you're either getting a crackhead, like I said with Pete, or you're getting, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Okay. So, also, I would like you to make me a wisdom perception check. Notice, rumors, yada, 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 kind of a thing.
Who's that?
You, Mercy. I would like Mercy to make one.
11.
Okay, so you hear through the grapevine that one of the guards was involved in some kind of what's the word? Let me think about this before I say too much without saying too much. One of the guards was arrested for plotting against one of the lords in town, and it could be Sir Harold Walmsley. You're not 100% sure, but what you get the gist of is that one of the guards over the last, they come in to some lady or whatever, she's praising so and so, and she tries to put in a good word for this guard because she really likes this guy. He did her well. But you hear this rumor about this guard did some investigation into one of the local lords, and that lord had framed him. The rumor has it that he's been framed and he's been jailed. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
The guard?
Yeah,
the guard got jailed?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And so over the course of the next month, your Temple of Era starts to spread. Things are going well. And people are coming in and making their donations and whatnot. Nothing too fancy has happened. So I'm trying to stretch the time frame out because we need to start in a month. Some things need to happen. Actually, this is what I'm going to say too. Over the course of this month, so Pete, you found out that one of the guards that you think is, we said it was Rufus, right?
Rufus, yeah.
So
Rufus.
You've heard that Rufus has been jailed. You're not quite sure why, but I'm threw that out to you. So there's been, I'm going to say that this is your nugget of goodness, Vay, is that over the month, the last month, this guard, you've heard, here we go. You've heard a rumor that this guard that was accused of plotting to kill or assassinate one of the locals has escaped from the jail. And he is hiding in the wilderness, and there's some scuttlebutt around the town that this particular guard, the other red plumes that he was working with, or not that he was, the other red plumes that this is the rumor that you hear. Sorry, I'm trying to piece this all together in my head really quickly. You hear a rumor of a guard who was falsely accused, or so they claim, of trying to assassinate one of the nobles, has escaped from the jailhouse with the help of some of the other guards, and he has gone off into the wilds, and he's being looked for. That is the rumor that you hear. Okay.
All right, falsely accused.
Well, according to some, but you're not quite sure exactly what's, maybe he did try. Nobody really knows. And I don't know if are you familiar with Rufus? Did you adventure with Rufus?
No.
Okay.
Well,
so
right to the tail end, I think.
Yeah. So you hear that it is Rufus, and you know it to be. Damn it! I kind of fucked this one up in a good old fashion.
Why's that? Just tell me
Well,
again after you get the story straight.
No,
My character will know whatever you tell her.
Yeah, no, I blew it when I told Pete who it was because I just remembered that I was going to put this on the table.
Well, as long as he didn't run to the forest, Christ, we went through that shit once already.
God, I really blasted this one. Damn it! I knew I should have been better prepared. I feel like I did because this was the clincher.
Well, they retcon it then.
It's a little late to retcon the fact that I already
Yeah,
told
but
you that it
we
was.
know it, but our players don't. But our characters don't.
Okay, so the gist is that it was just a guard, and then what I did was I went and made this awesome PDF. Now I'm just going to ruin it because we're gonna end this session short. We're going to do a couple other things here. So the gist was over the course of the month, you hear rumors about a guard that has been falsely accused of trying to assassinate one of the nobles. The noble was under investigation by said guard, so there's some hint of it not being true. What was going to happen is I was going to go through with Corey, and I was just going to keep mentioning a guard and shit like that. And then I was going to remembered when I was going to tell Corey, there's a bit of a kerfuffle on the outskirts of town where you guys are, like a month later, and the crowd has gathered and some things happen. And then I was going to be like, you see this guy holding a note, screaming at the guards of the Red Plume about how. They might be afraid of him. They're like, you can't capture the criminal, blah, 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 etc. And then I was going to throw this out and say, check it out, everybody. It was Rufus. And then you guys would have been like, oh, not Rufus.
Yes.
Oh, not Rufus.
Thanks, Pete. I appreciate that. And then I was like, that's where I was going to end it. But I totally fucking duffed it by saying Rufus. Fucking pissed me off. I suck as a game master. Damn it. It was so good too in my brain, and I totally fucking duffed it by saying Rufus's name out loud. Okay. So Charles Brudnir goes off into the forest, into the lumber mill. Do you want to talk about your new character, or what do you want to do?
Well, no. If we're throwing the new quick start in, I might take a look at that.
Okay. So I'm just going to bypass you for this turn. It's 9:07. We're gonna cut this short. Instead of playing till 10, we're going to play until this is done. Yep. So we're going to go over to Corey. Corey, you're hanging out in Lauren Latte. I would like you to make me a perception roll too. As you're hanging out in Lauren Latte, people come in for coffee. They shoot the breeze. You go over here, people talking at the tables when you're not high as fuck. Wow. You hear rumor that there is a dragonborn sorcerer said to draw her powers from Tiamat, the god of chromatic dragons, is somewhere out in the wilderness on one of the routes, like the iron route that goes between the town of New Haven and the town of Gilhelm. There's trade routes and stuff like that. Some things have been happening on these trade routes over the course of the last month. While you're hanging out serving coffee, storms on the sea have driven trade inland, and caravans have to use this iron route. Now that there's more traffic on it, and the word of this guard that has escaped and is out sort of, he's formed this group called the Grey Patriots. And a number of caravans over the course of the last month have been lost to the Grey Patriots. But at first, people are like sort of cheering the Grey Patriots on. They're like, oh yeah, this group of highwaymen, that you end up, are led by this guard in town, this so-called guard that's been not named because it's a surprise, guys. He's been out in the wilderness attacking caravans, but only the nobles' caravans. He's sort of like become like a modern, or I guess a Robin Hood of his time. Mm-hmm. Over the course of the month, though, he's become a little bit more vicious, and he started attacking regular guards or regular groups and stuff like that, and things. And so now there's this whole entanglement between this outlaw and another outlaw, and things are kind of getting out of control. Caravans that are coming into the town of New Haven are being sort of hijacked on the road. There seems to be this weird bloody feud that exists between the two outlaws. This weird sorceress woman with these kobolds and stuff like that. She's got this legion of kobolds and stuff. And you're just hearing all of these sort of weird rumors at the old Lauren Latte where people come every morning to have their coffee. You rolled really well, so I'm giving you a couple extra. And then one day, sort of everything comes to a head. What are you beeping at me for, you stupid piece of fizzle? Put my phone on airplane mode and it's still making noise. One day it all comes to a head. I'm going to move Brudner the Survivor away. I'm going to put the mayor outside of this deal. Mercy, she's over by the church over here, throwing sticks on the ground. Nobody knows why. Knight Alid is out in front of this building. Fazit, you're kind of doing whatever it is you want to do. Maybe you're down here by the, Lauren Latte area, and Clunge, you hear some commotion from outside the laundromat. You're out here having coffee on the dock like you like to do in the mornings and shit like that. Clunge fell over like a fucking drunk lunatic for some reason. Why is Clunge not standing up? Clunge is getting locked in place. Unlock Clunge. Objects. Saved objects. Miniatures. Printable Heroes, I believe, is the one that I want. I think he's got some common folk in here somewhere. A crowd of commoners and common folk have gathered outside of the, I want to call it Stogeno Gate because it just makes my life easy, but the police precinct, which is this building here. So the Red Plumes Guard Tower, there's a number of people that have gathered outside of it, including, where's my commoners? NPC pack, let's try that. Here we go, some citizens. See how big the citizenry is. And here's a city worker, and we got a shopper, and we got, I don't want to use the nobleman. We got grandma, etc., etc. So they're all hanging out outside of the police headquarters. They're yelling and screaming at the Red Plumes and stuff like that. And the Red Plumes are all sort of standing out in front in the line, and they're trying to protect the guard tower and stuff. And one of the citizens holds up this notice, and they're like, "Does the Lord Regent fear this wild dog?" You hear someone yell from the crowd, and you notice that she's holding this clenched notice in her fist. What are his hired goons too feared to go fend him off and protect the town and its provisions? You hear like angry jeers coming from the crowd. After a while, things kind of get a little out of control. I think I have a caravan, don't I? Let's see if I got a. What do you know? I think it's called a wagon. Oops. Covered supply wagon. Fucking boom! Check it out, folks. There we go. And then
Like magic.
just like magic. I saw something when I was looking for that. No
Oh,
caravan.
it's so tiny and cute.
I'll make it bigger.
It's a dwarf wagon.
Stop
Pulled by a
talking,
dog.
stop talking about my weenus like that. How dare you? Wait a second. This says
Don't be so
caravan
green.
merchant, but if you look at him, he does not look like a caravan merchant. He looks like he's got some.
Maybe a wasteland.
Right? I think that's probably the wrong one. Let's see if I got something in my miniatures NPC pack. Have I got a caravan merchant here somewhere? Grandpa, guard captain, half orc, old man, city worker, blacksmith, bartender. Doesn't look like it. Oh, let's use the old traveler. Skaboosh. Here we go.
You got more like a caravan man.
Right? He looks like a caravan dude. I'll shrink
Yeah.
him down to size.
He looks like the front row of the strip bar, that guy.
Yeah. And so this caravan worker is here. Now, I don't know if this caravan looks a little too small. No, I think that was about right. Faye, what do you mean, the tiny little wagon? Tiny little thing, so cute. Wow, I thought you were talking about my junk for a minute. Something...
That old traveller looks a lot like you, Gary.
A little bit, with that long beard.
He's hauling pebbles.
Right? Oh, I got a crotch shot of somebody here, and I got to remove fucking Rufus from the deal. Rufus, be gone. Alt print screen. Let's take a quick shot of that. So this caravan merchant guy, tensions are high. You're all sort of looking down the street as shit is happening, and people are yelling at the guards, and they're pissed off, and making all sorts of comments. You got to stop this criminal. You can't let him do what he's doing and steal the stuff and hurt the peoples and et cetera, et cetera. The crowd is getting a little bit tense, and something soft and stinking sort of flies through the air and splatters on one of the guards' armors. outside of the gate, which incites a bit of a mini riot. He and the others charge forward, cudgels drawn. They're smashing people in the face right out in the front of the temple. Mobs form, turning on one another, and a covered merchant wagon nearby. One of them climbs up on top of the wagon, and you hear him yell, "Oh, these goods are going to go to waste!" And then another one snarls as he climbs up. He's like, "Let us take them off your hands." And this merchant man over here, this traveling guy that's standing right here, he's kind of like, "Hey, help! I need some help. They're robbing my caravan. Won't somebody come and help me?" To which we're going to end it right there with
Dun dun dun.
you guys. Yeah, ruined. I'm just going to throw that on the fucking table now because I'm mad I ruined it. But as you guys sort of come towards where the attack is going on in the aid of this caravan man, I don't want to go into combat right now because Charles is going to make a new character and Brudnir's off doing a thing. So we're just going to leave it with this. You guys sort of converge on the scene just before this happens. You grab hold of this piece of paper from this woman's hand, or you find one on the city streets, and the lot of you are shocked and aghast as you read what it says. Wanted for murder, robbery, and sedition, Rufus Surf, outlaw chief of the notorious Grey Patrons. A bounty of 500 coins shall be paid to whosoever surrenders the outlaw, dead or alive, to the Knights of the Red Plumes. That was my big clincher at the end, and I fucked it up.
I'm shocked and awed.
I'm
Okay.
casting.
All right. So sorry for the shitty little adventure or the shitty session, but I
It's
feel
hysterical, dude.
I
So
feel
we're playing by 2E rules next time, right?
yes, we're going to switch things up, which is why I'm glad that we got together. It's kind of why I wanted to do this. I want to do this now while we're in between sessions. I will work on bringing the character sheets in game. You guys can go about your creating or converting your characters from the current way that you're playing to the 2E rules. And then when we come back, we'll start our next session off next Sunday with everybody discussing how they've changed their deals. For Vey, you're going to have to choose, depending on which item you took, how many wisdom spells you have. And from now on, if you find a wisdom spell laying, like some kind of preacher sheet, at least it becomes valuable, and we can forego you basically casting on everybody. Charles is going to show up with a new character, so that he will be introduced. Pete, same old fucking bullshit, I guess, with Pete, right? Nothing new happens with Clunge, except he's got some cleaning juice on him, and takes the piss out of your pants. And
Yeah. So,
Mercy.
so for those of us who started off with original core characters and then we're converting up to 2E, I guess the only thing we really need to do is just pick a starting ability. Does that sound?
Sure.
Because there was no starting abilities to begin with, right? Like starting loot, we all had starting loot to begin with of some sort. It's just core loot. Milestone abilities, I mean, I guess from this point forward, we start picking those instead. But I guess the only thing we really need to do is look at that starting ability and then add whatever points from our original build into it. Is that what we're doing to convert?
I would assume so. Yep, something along those lines. Don't forget to add your 4 points into effort. Figure out what your defense is going to be. Now that defense is for everybody with their constitution, or just for tank classes? Is that a skill that you need to take?
No,
Everyone.
for everybody.
It's for everyone.
So
okay.
the Guardian class is kind of everyone now.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I get the gist of it. The premise has changed. The Constitution now adds to your armor class as well as armor does.
Right.
So your defense then would be in a culmination of the armor that you have, however many points you get in that. But if you or as well as your Constitution bonus, but you would only really take Constitution if you were the Guardian class, because that's one of your sort of your core deals.
Yeah. Or if it's a racial perk.
Okay.
Right? Like the dwarves have the racial perk of, I think, +1 or +2 gone.
If you guys don't mind being on the Murder Hobo Show podcast, I think I'm going to export this and chop off the first hour where we talked about the ICRPG rules and maybe convert that into a podcast with all of us talking about how we're going to change our game, if that's not a problem. Anybody?
Sure. Go for it.
Yep.
As soon as I have my agent sign for royalties.
Ooh,
It's
stiff. Remember what we said, Vey.
It might ruin my
Vey
podcast career,
wins
but
again.
you never know.
Vay, I will give you 100% of the money that I collect from that podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. So you owe Gary $10.
Yeah. So currently you get the debt.
Right. The $100 a year it costs me to be on Podbean divided by 10 works out to, whatever. Okay. We're going to end it here. A nice little short day. I managed to turn bullshit into 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I'm going to kill the stop streaming button